He's not going to be here.
No, it's like, I get you.
Plus, if you liked it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get this fixed tomorrow.
No more coming?
You're hot. Thank you.
You have your hat.
Thanks for noticing.
He's in a good mood tonight.
I know, this is great.
Ready? Bang the
Yeah.
gavel.
Here we go.
Council workshop meeting, Monday, December 1st, 2025, 6 PM. Bear?
Here.
Briggs?
Here.
Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich? Altmeyer?
Here.
Patke?
Here.
Pepsel?
Here?
Sullenstruck. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the committee members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the meeting dated November 3rd, 2025? Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Altmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Pepsel?
Yes?
Sullenstruck.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Packey, second by Coulter to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's done.
Report of department heads, Administration Department, Recycling Center Farm Lease. So, good evening, council. In your packet is a, ordinance for us to go ahead and go into an agreement with Jack Brinker for the 15.25 acres of farm ground behind the recycling center. We did go out for bid on November 14th, and we received, we went out for bid. Bids were, due on November 14th, and we received one bid. That was from Jack Brinker for the amount of $131.51. The, minimum bid was $125, and so the bid does meet the minimum amount. The term of the lease is going to be for 5 years. The period, like I said, is 5 years, and it would commence on December 9th, and it would end on December 9th of 2030. And so we're just recommending approval.
What was the amount on the last contract?
I think it
106.
was, yeah, 106 per acre.
Make a motion to move it on. Second.
Motion by Joe, second by Pepsel. Any further discussion, you guys, or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. It's moved on.
Renewal of half-cent capital improvement sales tax.
We've got two items on your agenda, item 3A, 3B and 3C. As I told you at your last city council meeting, the Sales Tax Renewal Committee's been meeting since June of 2025 this year, and reviewing several projects. First, though, we wanted to talk about the half-cent capital improvement sales tax. As I indicated at the last city council meeting, I believe December 9th, is that correct, Sherry?
Yes.
For when we can turn in propositions to the county clerk to go ahead and have this on the ballot for April 7th of 2026. And within your packets, you've got the letter that was signed by Sandy, who chaired the committee. And you can see all the committee members. We've got them on the sideline of your packet that worked through. So I don't know if Sandy, did you want to have any comments about either one of these two letters? Or any, about the process in general or anything? Go ahead.
Well, I thought the process went really well. We had a number of meetings. We met monthly. Staff did a great job of making the presentations of what the projects could possibly be. Unfortunately, we had, I believe it was $36 million worth of projects that we were reviewing, and there was, we project that there'll be $25 million raised over the next 8 years based on our current sales tax rate, our sales tax in
Projection over that
accumulation,
time.
I guess, projected at that time. So we did have to do a lot of significant cutting of some of the requests. The committee chose this time, I thought something that was a little bit different this time was that instead of eliminating a lot of the projects, they just lessened the amount that would be going toward that, which was a little different because there were always some projects that would get eliminated all the way. But this time we just kind of backed off on the dollars, thinking that there might be another source for funding. So we went back and forth quite a bit on that and came up with our list. And so, we ask your approval. I think you all know how important the half-cent capital improvement sales tax has been. This is, we've been doing it a number of years, and, it started out as only 5 years, and back then we earned about $1 million a year on sales tax, so we had $5 million worth of projects that first year. And so it obviously has increased over time. So, but I know that our community has certainly benefited. It's a little bit different year this year because the last time we had the swimming pool. Prior to that, we had the library, and before that, we had the public safety building. So we've had some big projects, but I feel confident that we have, if you look at the list, we have grouped it into public safety, things that are, for public safety for our community, and then also some things for parks and recreation. And I feel like those two items would be significant for most all of our residents and will be a good way to market the tax, because those, obviously, we want to be safe and we also love our parks.
I think it's important, and Sandy touched on this, is that the fact that the funding that you see that was proposed by the committee is not intended to cover everything on that project list. I think that's a part of what gets lost sometimes, or at least I know it did in the last 8 years. Sometimes we had projects listed and we had how much of the dollar amount was, but we all know that, either due to inflation or other things, we had to rely upon other revenue sources to go ahead and get the jobs done, or get the projects completed. And we anticipate with this as well. I mean, as an example, Washington Youth Sports Association had a very large, elaborate layout of what they wanted to see with improvements, but obviously we just can't fund all of those improvements. But we asked them, for example, in this case, what would they, if we had $1.5 million towards it, what would they do? And in this case, they said, well, we would build a concession stand and then focus on the other improvements as we move along, or try to get donations or whatever they needed to go ahead and do. So I just thought it was important to say that, it's not meant to cover every single dollar of these projects. And a lot of times you also keep in mind that there's design fees, especially for the buildings, structures. We're contracting out those design services. We don't have architects on staff to go ahead and do that, obviously. So, but as Sandy said, I think, the focus was a lot on emergency response with the bulk of the funding going there, but Parks and Recreation, certainly there's a lot to talk about there as well. I guess I would be remiss too if we didn't mention the senior center at the top of the list.
Oh, yes.
We want to go ahead, that's the
Don't
big,
tell 'em.
that's the
Miss that
project
one.
that we heard a lot about, obviously with our seniors. I don't have to tell the council, since we've, made the change, that want to get them a permanent place where they don't have to go ahead and they can utilize a facility without having to share it for other engagements. And so we feel that there's a lot of options where that senior center money could be used towards.
And I think the seniors are happy that that you all listened and we as a committee have listened and things like that. So I think it's very important for us to get a new place for them. So anyway, one that they can call their own and they don't have to move things and,
Right.
So
Sandy,
it was
did-
unfortunate that we had to move.
Did the committee, did they have an inflation percentage added into this for 8 years?
2%.
2%.
We did a conservative estimate of 2% for over each year. That's how we got to the 25. You're at approximately 2.85 million now, I think, something like that, 2.85, 2.9 per year. And we did a 2% increase over 8 years.
Which I don't know if we did that the last time.
We had an estimate, I think, built into it, and it eventually came out. There was one letter I saw where we had 50, and it all depended upon where we were, but there was one that was a little over 15 million, and then the second one came in at like 16.2. something like
So
that.
if you look at that, we went from 15,
Yeah.
16 million to 25.
So that's how well the sales tax has
Washington
done.
rocks.
So,
I think it also goes without saying, you guys, and y'all were part of the process, either attending the meetings or part of the committee. There was public input every step of the way in this entire
Yes.
process, and that will continue.
So are we working on these together, or? one
well,
at
we
a
can do,
time?
well, let's get them to go ahead and approve this one first, recommend approval, and then we'll go to the next
Make a
one.
motion.
Second.
Motion by Stallentrup, second by Patke. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, very good. Well, so we have to talk about these things, okay? I mean, we're two or more gathered, we're gonna be talking about sales tax, so anyway. But, I mean, I do think that we need to help to get the word out. The campaign will probably start, obviously, after the first of the year, and, but I know that we do have some committee members who are already kind of talking about that a little bit and stuff like that. So if you have any groups that you think would be good for us as a committee to visit with or to talk to, just let us know and we'll get on their list, so, okay.
Renewal of the transportation sales tax.
So within your packet is the letter also from the Sales Tax Renewal Committee to present this to the voters on the same ballot in April of 2026. Obviously, this is a much larger undertaking than the one that we've had in the past where it's been renewed 5 times. This would be the first time to go to the voters for renewal of the transportation sales tax. It began in 2005, as most everybody on this council knows, that to go ahead and widen 100 to 4 lanes all the way out to I-44, but it was also crucial for us in funding of several projects, and you see those listed on the front page of the letter. Everything from, coming up with the match for the grants for major streets within the city, including 5th, Jefferson Street, High Street, 3rd Street, Westlink Drive, and other streets. Those are just some of them. Resurfacing of our local streets that do not qualify for federal assistance, so that completely. It also helped with the construction of a recently opened Foxcrest Drive, an initial phase of East-West Parkway, development of Bush Creek Trail, and airport improvements. All of those, without those funds, those projects would not have been able to go ahead and be completed. We do have a list of projects that we anticipate what we are looking for the next, and in this case, 20-year window rather than 25. And they're looking at widening of 100 to 4 lanes from High Street to Voss Brink Drive, High Street extension to Highway A eventually, further construction of East-West Parkway where needed, resurfacing of local streets throughout the community, same as before, maintenance and improvements to sidewalks, parking lots, and trails, traffic signal upgrades and improvements. We've seen a lot of, as you know, requests for improvements at crucial intersections along Highway 100 where we have stacking issues, and we've got several projects in the pipeline already, but we anticipate more that we're going to need in the future, and without this funding source, it's hard to come up with even that match. So that's something else. And then, of course, airport improvements that we've talked about. We explained to the committee the federal funding is programmed out 4 to 5 years in advance. As you guys know, when you approve for us, especially when Charles's group puts together their applications, that's a 4 to 5 year process before you see those improvements. That's the reason why we want to go to the voters now. It's that simple, is because we don't want to sit there and have to wait a few years before the tax kicks in, or wait until 2030, because then you're not going to be able to make application because you can't commit the funds. You won't have them. So that's the reason why we wanted to go ahead. We don't want to stop the progress that we've already made. We want to continue that, and that's the reason why we'd like to go to the voters in 2026. I would like to show you the updated presentation that we've had, because it might have been a while since some of you have seen the latest version of that, but I mean, there has been some edits and some changes, certainly to deal with what we're dealing with in Highway 47 and our agreement with Franklin County. So sometime, maybe I'll look at an agenda, maybe in January or February, we might be able to go ahead and do that presentation again to show you the importance of that. It really gets a lot more into the
It
weeds.
just gets a lot more into the weeds when you
Yeah.
start going down that path, so, but I think it's important, and before I forget, this is a sales tax, it's not property tax, so you know, when you are discussing it with our voters. But I think it's important that we do what we can, I mean, for transportation in and out of Washington. And I think we have an opportunity for we as Washington to improve Highway 47 out to where we anticipate the crossing of the East-West Parkway. And there seems to be a little bit of, there's still discussion about the rest of the route of Highway 47 all the way to St. Clair in the county. And I think it's important that we as Washington just stand up and do what we need to do to get our section completed. And then that, and by the way, by the process that we're going through, we will be able to apply for grants and other monies from the state and the other, and from on the federal level as well, which will then allow more of the money that's allotted towards the county to be used on that other part. So I think it's really important that we do what we can to get that section completed, and then, of course, to be able to take care of our city streets. We have great streets in our town, you know. Our town always looks clean, and I think part of it is because we have good streets, you know.
And we've had a revenue source to fund it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So-
I mean, that's the
If
biggest.
For some uncertainty of the taxes doesn't pass, how long do you have to wait to do it again?
We could do it again, I think. Haven't given it that much thought as when. I mean, you could do it April of 2027. I haven't given much thought about other elections in between. I think that's usually the biggest percentage of when we have success is usually at the municipal elections in April the most. If for some reason it would fail, our advice would be is to go back again in April of 2027 and see what we can do to go ahead and do more education if that's what it takes. But I just, you know, it's important. Sandy's just talking about Highway 47, and of course, that's going to be, those improvements will be done prior to 2030, but without that funding source, you wouldn't have that luxury of being able to go ahead and do that. I mean, I don't, you would have to go back to your general fund, figure out how you're going to go ahead. I don't know how far we've gone in 20 years. I don't know how we could go back and try to go ahead and fund those improvements that way. Can we get to everything and make everything perfect for everybody? No, it takes time sometimes, you know, especially when we apply for those federal funds and it's 4 years out. But like I said, without at least that match, we wouldn't be able to even apply. So,
Because it takes so long, you guys, that 4 years, we have to remember that the tax that was passed in 2005 expires in 2030. And every bit of those dollars that we continue to receive until 2030, they're all spoken for.
yeah, we've got them
that
allocated
revenue
unless something would come up that really made us drastically rethink it. We have all of those funds basically allocated for all the way out to 2030. And a lot of them, and that's part of that presentation that we've got. We added some slides to show you all the funding that's been approved through East-West Gateway for projects in the future and what we anticipate all the way up to 2030.
And I think those organizations see us as a good partner. I think so, because we're able to come forward and have the funding. You know, originally, when MoDOT approached us about helping to fund the Highway 100, it was, Highway 100 expansion was on their schedule to be completed in 2025. Imagine if,
I can't imagine if.
I mean,
the portion
imagine,
would have
so, and how different it would be, so. Anyway, and
Our
we
side
probably
is
wouldn't be.
important. I think that the word luxury was mentioned, but I think it's a necessity, it's an imperative, and that's why I think, you know, through the process, it was definitely, like I said, the word necessity always came up. It was just something that we have to have and have to do to continue to be what we are. We don't want to slip backwards, and that's kind of what it amounts to. And Sandy mentioned it briefly, but it is a sales tax, not a property tax. Nothing else goes up. I know we tried to search as a committee to try to find out how many dollars come from outside of Washington. That some people thought that was very imperative also. So, you know, whether that number is, 60%, 80% of our sales tax dollars in Washington, if you think about it, comes outside of the Washington city limits. So, to have that, again, I say the word imperative. So, again,
Well, but
it was.
we've always been, we've always been thinking forward in our community, and I think we've had
Right.
leadership through the years going way back that always we're looking forward. So I think we all have very much to be proud of here, and we just want to keep it, so.
Right.
Just for clarification, if this passes, if it would pass in April of 2026, doesn't double tax between 26 and 2030. It just extends the tax beginning in 2030 for another 20 years. So, just to make sure everybody's,
Yeah, we'll have to.
anybody, I know most people up here understand that, but I just want to make sure that we get that message out.
I'll move, we send it on.
Second.
Motion by Bear, second by Patke to send it on. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Sandy,
Thank
thank you
you.
for doing that and heading it up and keeping the meetings, I guess, eventful and on task, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
So again, thank you and our deepest sympathies.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, I had to miss a couple, but I'm back now, or I will be soon, so anyway, it's good to be back up here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Shauna, would you like to come up?
Yeah, Shauna, if you, I asked Shauna before we get into the other items that are listed on there. This has to do with having our special council meeting that we're gonna need next Monday, and so Shauna can give you a brief explanation of that. We're not gonna get in too far into the weeds, that's why we had a separate meeting, but give you an explanation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain why we have requested a short delay and a special meeting to present our annual employee health insurance recommendations. As you know, each year, our broker, Scott Schrepfer, and his team go out to review employee health insurance plans, and they go out to the market to find the most competitive options for our employees. Last Tuesday, Scott met with City Administrator Lamb and me to present the initial results of this year's renewal process. Unfortunately, we were notified that the renewal this year for the rate to keep our current medical insurance as is would be a 22% increase. After receiving the news, Scott and his team also obviously went back out to the insurance market to find alternatives. They went back out to the major carriers, 3 of which declined to quote our group in total. They preferred not to quote at all. One factor that we've been told that's contributing is our loss ratio, which has been running high. In fact, most recently, near 120% loss ratio. This means that the cost of claims has exceeded the premiums paid, and insurers view this as a higher risk when considering rate proposals. I want to emphasize that while these numbers sound concerning, they're not unusual for many smaller groups, and including municipalities, where even a handful of significant claims can impact our overall ratio. The information is being shared today because transparency is important, and we want council and our employees to understand the process and the factors that are outside of any individual employee's control. Because we were presented with only 2 viable paths, renewing at our increase of 22% or evaluating a potential self-insurance structure, we've asked our broker to prepare more detailed cost projections. The administrative team, HR, and the finance director will be meeting again with Scott tomorrow to fully understand the long-term financial impact of both options and to ensure that we bring you the most responsible and sustainable recommendation. This is why we're requesting a brief postponement, which normally we would present to you this evening, before presenting our final recommendations. We want to be able to provide accurate numbers, realistic scenarios, and clear explanations of the risks and benefits associated with each of the options. At the special meeting next Monday, December 8th at 5:30, we expect that Scott Schrepfer and his team will present their final findings and a recommendation that best protects both the city's financial interest and our employees' access to quality, affordable health care. I would like to close by stating clearly that our workforce is one of our city's most valuable assets. Their salary and benefits remain a top priority for us. Ultimately, our goal is to continue offering our employees the best insurance benefits that both the city and our employees can sustainably afford. We are committed to balancing responsible financial stewardship and supporting the health and well-being of the people who keep this city running every single day.
Good timing. It was good.
Did you
Thank
say
you, Sean.
5:30?
5:30, yes, sir.
Anybody have any initial questions?
Do we know what 22% increase, what that dollar amount is?
Yes. I can give you overall annual cost, if that's what you would like. So currently, the city spends approximately 1.93 million on our insurance, and a 22% increase would be 2.37 million.
It's pretty typical, the 20%, we just went through the same exact thing, and ours was 19%.
We were expecting double-digit increases, and Darren, if you want to, we did budget for a 10%
10%.
increase. So obviously, when we saw the numbers, it was quite the shock. We did prepare for double-digit. We knew that that might be coming with the market the way it was and the way that we were running in the middle of budgeting season, but we just were not prepared for maybe 22%. Just historically, the city has been really fortunate that we've been able to keep cost at the same or even some years decrease in the last 8 years I've been here, for example.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
don't
the
know before
first
that.
of those 8 years, the first 5, we were right around 0 increase.
Right.
And then about 3 years ago, I think first time we saw a jump, we went up to 8%, I think.
And the city took
And then-
on most of that
And
responsibility.
then the following year, I think it was like 9%.
And then we
So that's why
moved
we looked at
carriers.
possibly a 10% for this year, and we got this. So let us take a look at that. There is an option that Scott's got that would be new for us, it'd be a little bit more administrative work for our HR folks, but we're taking a look at that, and Scott wants to give you some good numbers, and we want to take the time to get that to you. So that's the reason why, but it's imperative because we do have to go ahead and make a decision next Monday. But I will ask Shauna to go ahead and just give you an update so you know what you're walking into. Thank
I'd
you.
be happy to answer any questions offline as well if you would like to.
Yeah, if
send those
anybody
to
has
me.
anything, let Shauna know.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sean.
Engineering Department landfill parking lease license agreement.
Good evening, council. This is the lease agreement we've had with Waste Management for a few years now. The last one we had was for 24 months as well, for them storing roll-off containers and dumpsters out there at the landfill on the roughly 9 acres that we own out there. We're proposing an increase to the rent from $50 a month per unit to $65. So that's about $300 per month increase that we'll see. So
What do we use those for?
we don't use them. We just allow Waste Management to store their dumpsters and stuff out there. They just store them, and then they might move them around to different places and stuff like that. They don't have anything in them.
For years, they stored it for free. And then we were like, wait a second, there's no reason for that. I mean, it costs money to go ahead and locate, so that's when we started. I think John was here when we first started that.
So we just kind of compare it to other
Yeah.
local storage places to see if we're, comparable.
How much is it?
And $65 per unit per month. So, and they have about a minimum of 20 units out there. They have room for up to 40. So.
Questions?
Make a motion, moving on.
Second.
Motion by Holtmeyer, second by Coulter to move on. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Parks Department compact wheel loader purchase.
Good evening, council. In your packet, you'll find 2 bid recommendations for 2 pieces of equipment. Each year, we evaluate our equipment, we look at what the needs are of our department. And specifically, there are 2 pieces this year that we are looking at currently. The first is a compact wheel loader purchase. We have put into the 25-26 budget money to spend on this piece of equipment. We have found it through Sourcewell, which is a cooperative group purchasing program. It looks like that purchase, the bid was submitted from Fabic Cat in the amount of $168,000. We did budget $180,000 for that compact wheel loader this year. Some of the things that we will utilize it for would be things like snow removal and storm cleanup, material handling at the park shop, and also support during the county fair, and then some other tasks that we have. We feel like it will help increase efficiency in material loading and unloading, and then it'll also help us with response time for snow removal. So that is the first item that we are recommending approval to move on to the council meeting. And I brought Chad too, if we have other questions.
Is there any other attachments or implements going to be with that? Just
It has 2 other buckets.
2 buckets, okay.
There's a side dump bucket and a floor dump bucket.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Sullivan Truitt, second by Pat Key. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Toro mower purchase.
The second one is a Toro 4000D mower purchase. That one will actually take the place of a mower that we currently have. It's a 2010 that's reached the end of its useful life here because of its age, the total hours that we've used on it, and the increased repairs that we've put into it. That one was also put into the 25-26 Parks budget for the year. We did budget $112,000 for that one. The bid came in, again, through that Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program at $98,379.65. So that is the second one that we recommend approval to move on to the council meeting.
Darren, Chad, is that a 16-foot cut?
It's 13, it's 132 inches. So this is a little over, just under 12 feet.
I don't know if you would know this or if anybody would know this, but do you know what the amount of acres are that we cut just in the city? Not the
At 140 acres,
148 acres?
and you contract out roughly about 30.
How much?
About 30.
Have we ever thought about looking into subbing out all of our grass cutting?
Yeah, we've talked about it, but with how the activities go, to have control of what we need to mow, sometimes there is probably a couple more things that we could contract out, but we're also, it's hard to get a contractor to do that many acres. We'd have to probably divide that up into multiple contracts, and that will probably be a lot harder to do.
We're gonna have that's gonna go out for bid
Yeah,
again this winter.
We have 2 additional years on the contract, but we were looking at this year, we want to go back out to bid for certain reasons. And we will look into what other areas we could contract out possibly. We want to see if we can hopefully get a little better deal, and we have a couple other vendors or contractors in mind that we might be able to.
When was the last time we bought a lawnmower?
Well, last year we bought the one that we use currently on our, on the ball fields. But this is a 2010, the other one was a 2019. So roughly we run them about 4,000 hours. It seems like 4,000 to 5,000 hours we get out of them. With the newer models, electronics and the DEF systems and all that stuff, they don't run as long. Like this one has a little over 4,000 hours at now, but it's starting, we stuck quite a bit of money in it last year, it's slowing down. We are getting $7,000 back on trade with that model. So get a little bit more than we got out of the last one.
I just think with the manpower we have to have and the equipment you gotta buy for $98,000, and then, I guess you got a trailer, you got to tow them across town too.
Yeah, I mean, most of the grass that we contract out is across town, so we try to get the remote areas just takes a lot of time to unload and load. That's why we do them areas. I mean, there is a couple, we still do probably, I would say 30 acres over on the east end of town, because we do like disc golf and the riverfront trail and some of that stuff. But like I said, we already have the trailer, we're not asking to.
And we would take a look at it, depending upon how the bids come in. This winter, we'll take a look and see if they come in. I remember last time we had the same discussion, I think the first time that Clay Camp bid on it, and we added more to them because of the fact I was like, we can't do it cheaper than what they're proposing to go ahead and do. But prior to that, we had a contractor, I think at that time it was Hillerman's, and mean, Clay Camp really sharpened their pencil when they came back in that first time.
Yeah, and I think, we always do options, I mean, and then we can do something maybe per acre or something too for cost, cause I mean, there were several things that we've had to add, little lots here and there throughout town we've had to add to the contract. So we always look at them options, what would be the easiest to contract out, or if we had to mow once a week or twice a week, and we try to manage some of that stuff too.
Okay.
Anything else, guys? Take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Pepsol. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's moved on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Police Department approval of manpower increase full-time police officer.
Good evening, council. In your packet, there's a letter from me requesting approval for manpower allotment increase. A little backstory on this. Currently, we have 32 officers allotted for the police department, full-time police officers. In the past year, we've had one officer that has been on military orders. He's actually been in military orders since September of '24. Those orders were recently renewed, so he's on orders for another year. So that is expected to end October of '26. In addition to that, we recently learned that another officer is likely going to be placed on orders for deployment in May of '26 for a one-year deployment. Couple that with, we have two other additional officers that are either reserves or National Guard that have their annual training, they have their monthly training, so trying to navigate the manpower with that has been difficult. So I recently met with Darren, the mayor, Tammy, and HR to try to look at ways to kind of backfill that. And the idea was that we would add another officer to that allotment, and so we could hire an additional officer. We know we're going to be without an officer for the next year, and the potential another one for another year, and look at a total year and a half. So for us to manage that, that's the only solution that I see, other than overtime for our officers, and that becomes difficult because about 6-7 months ago, when we were in the thick of that, between that and just some attrition, we had officers working a lot of overtime. Morale was starting to suffer. They were working a lot, and they did a great job. They stepped up, but I don't want to see that happen again. So that's kind of where this idea came from. I will note that it will not impact the current budget because obviously we're not paying those officers while they're on orders. So if we replace any of those officers, then it doesn't impact the budget because it's already budgeted for them.
We budget for full employment, so
Yeah.
if however many officers that, whether they're on active duty or working with us, either way.
Yes.
So when they come back off, are we gonna lay off another officer off?
No, so that's the other part of the puzzle that Darren and I have had in the mayor have had discussions about. We did add an officer recently, if you recall, and the plan was in the next couple years to add another officer. The idea would be that could be that extra officer as we move forward.
They were looking
if the
to
budget
add,
allows.
with the additional housing that we've witnessed and seen, we knew we were gonna go ahead and need some additional support for them.
Yes.
But we talked about, I think, at 1.3 additional officers, 3 to 4. But we talked about, well, not all that housing's coming in online at the same time, it's staggered. And so let's just take a look at the next 3 years of adding an officer each year.
Yeah.
So obviously, when it comes budget time again next year, and we ask you to go ahead and review the budget, we'll talk again and see where we're at and find out how many of our officers are actually out or how many are in, and we'll make a determination at that point.
Yes.
But any increase in manpower for staffing, we bring to you as required for your approval to go ahead and do so.
Chief, how much more overtime do you think you spent by not having that officer here?
Well, we've had to replace. We have to run. We have minimum staffing.
Right.
We have a minimum number of officers for particular days of the week. So we've had to backfill that. So we've either had to take away from. We've filled that occasionally with school resource officers the school wasn't in, or also from the detective bureau, but that detracts from their
Right.
day-to-day activities. But yeah, we've had to have officers work overtime. And then when you do that, you have to remember, when you're paying an officer overtime, it's minimum time and a half.
Right, right.
So there's that increase there.
It got to the point where Tammy had noticed that, you know, you're at a tipping point. You're paying
Right.
more for.
That's kind of what I was getting at. That's
And
what I
that's,
figured.
we're at that tipping point.
That's what I was
I
at-
can't
that's kinda
remember
what I
what
was
exact
asking.
that dollar
Right.
was, but we're there.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It's a
That's
smart
why-
fiscal thing to do, is
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
and that's not even mentioning what Chief had talked about.
Right.
Burnout that, you know,
Right.
with
Yeah.
everybody working overtime.
Motion to send to council.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Coulter. Is this to approve or send it on?
It's just approve. There's nothing in your packet later tonight for that, but it's just approval. If you give that now, then we'll go ahead and start advertising for that.
My motion is
Obviously,
to
those
approve.
will come to you for approval whenever we do find somebody.
Sure.
Motion is to approve. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
New disorderly conduct ordinance.
Council, in your packet, you have a letter from me. Again, this request came to me from my command staff through other officers who had the idea. We have seen an increase in dealing with difficult subjects, nothing out of the ordinary, but it just seems like with growth, as we mentioned before, we're seeing more and more of this, of disorderly behavior, dealing with difficult people, and quite often the officers have to make the decision of how to manage that. If they're intoxicated, either by alcohol or drugs or what prescription drug, whatever the case may be, they can rely on a protective custody statute, as a state statute, but that's very limited. And that is not a criminal charge. It's basically they're taken in protective custody if they're either a harm to themselves or others. The other options are, if we're called to a scene where someone's disorderly, we have to see if it fits the criteria for a peace disturbance. That threshold's a little more difficult to meet because you have to have a victim willing to sign a prosecution. Oftentimes they're not willing to do that for either whether it be they just don't want to do that to have to appear in court later, whatever the case may be. Sometimes that's difficult. So a disorderly conduct ordinance, what that would do is fill that gap where we have an instance where it may not fit either one of those criteria, then they have this option, the officers have an option of the disorderly conduct charge. It also will improve our ordinances for areas like if there's a riot situation, which likely that's slim, but it does have that written into it that if there's a gathering that's becoming violent, if you read the ordinance in there, if it's becoming violent or heading that direction, it gives the officer an option to make an arrest in that regard too. So, Mark did review it. He actually drafted the ordinance, and he's on board with prosecuting any charges that we bring forward related to the ordinance. So he's in full support of it. So yeah, if you have any other questions about that, I'm willing to answer.
In reading it, it makes a lot of sense, and you kind of wonder why it wasn't already in place before.
Sure.
To be honest.
And I will note that there are many other municipalities that have a disorderly conduct ordinance, very similar to this. It's just the city never, I guess, either thought to do that or is never a need, but we feel that there's a need now to do that.
So it's up to the officer for discretion.
Absolutely, as in a charge, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying that they will, just make arrest, but it's an option for them. Particularly those repeat offenders, we've had that where we've taken the protective custody over and over again, and there's no repercussion. You have to remember, protective custody is only to house them until they can either sober up or someone can come pick them up. and that's typically the last resort to bring them to jail on a protective custody. The statute reads in order, you should, and I don't know what all the steps are, but the first step is to try to get them home. If they're able to manage themselves at home, quite often they're not, because they're most times violent, so then they're brought to jail, and then it's the max of a 12-hour hold for that. 12, yeah.
I'll make a motion to send to council.
Second.
Okay, motion by Patke, second by Briggs, or Coulter?
Coulter.
Sorry.
You beat me to it.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Jim.
Street Department, Baylor, Convaler, purchase.
Good evening, council. Out at our recycle center, we have a baler that bales our cardboard, and we are in the process of replacing it. It is 25 years old. We budgeted $225,000. We did have some bids. The one we chose was $138,000. There was one that was a little bit cheaper, but it didn't meet some of the critical specs, and mainly cycle time, some design issues. So we, the current one we have now is an XL baler, and with 25 years of great service, we were considering buying another one.
Does it still work?
Yes, we're getting a $20,000 trade-in on it.
Nice.
Are we still getting money for cardboard per ton or so?
It moves around. Sometimes it's under $100, sometimes it can be over $100 a ton, so.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Solentrop, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Also on top of that, Charles was able to get us about $20,000 in grant money also.
How did, you throw salt today, or did you pick up leaves?
We did both.
Did you?
We started with leaves and pulled the whole leaf crew off to go do salt, so. We'll see how it goes tonight, so. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Water wastewater department, influent lift station repairs.
Good evening, council. This is a request to move this to council tonight to replace our two final influent pumps at our water treatment plant. We replaced two of them last year, and this will replace the other two this year. It's not replacing them, it's doing a repair. The bases have wore out and everything else, so we need to get them replaced so we can get another at least 16 years of service out of them.
Will they rebuild them on site or have to take them somewhere?
No, they'll do everything they can on site. If a motor has to be rewound, which we don't think any of them need to be, that's why the price is a little bit lower than last time. They'll just do everything on site. They'll bring three of their crews in and they'll pull them out, do all the repairs, everything they need, and put them back in. So it takes them about a week usually to do that. So.
I'll move we send it on.
Second.
Motion by Bear, second by Solentrop. Further questions?
It's pretty hard to say no to this, right, Kevin? The alternative is.
We have to have it, unfortunately.
The budget was,
budgeted too.
And it's budgeted.
budget was 100,000.
Yes.
Oh, hey, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Trailer purchase.
Yes, this is to purchase the trailer that will move the mini excavator that we purchased last month. So it's a necessity. You can't track a mini excavator around town, so we need a trailer for it. As you can see, Bobcat came in lowest on that. The reason for that is that Bobcat of St. Louis, or the Bobcat Corporation, purchased the trailer manufacturing company that made the trailers for them, so they can give a lower price when they price them out. So we got a benefit of that too, so.
So these trailers in the bid were comparable as far as weight-wise?
Yeah, weight-wise, yes.
They're all comparable, but
Comparable, yeah.
that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, it is.
Ball hitch or panel?
It'll be I think it's a Pinot hitch, I think. We'll pull that with our 1.5 ton that we currently have, which we usually have on the job site anyway, so it kind of makes sense to have them both. at
Kevin,
the same
tell
time.
Joe he asked that in Public Works and you already answered it.
Ah, that's all right, it happens. Wow. Rough group.
I'll take a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Sullentrup, second by Pepsel. All those in favor?
Hey, Kevin,
Thank you.
Motion
I guess I could ask Mike, I said, how's the smell problem on Front Street?
Pretty good. I mean, hasn't been a problem. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, since we've changed all of our pumping schemes at all the lift stations, it seems to be helping. I go down there at least 2 or 3 times a week. I try to get down there. I'll roll both my windows down. I just did it the other day when it was cold, and I don't smell anything. We go to the station, we don't smell what we used to smell. Now, we still do have odors down at Walnut Street, because we're just moving, you know, with sewage, you're just continually moving it down. We're able to flow match with the stations that we have now. Walnut Street, we can't flow match because it's not a submersible design station. We're doing a lot of evaluation on Front Street. We're having some meetings on that actually this month. That might be some of the proposal that comes down, is that we convert Walnut Street over to a submersible station, also to be able to do the same thing at Walnut Street and transfer it down to the treatment plant, which we already have odors at the treatment plant. I mean, that's just, you know, the way it is. You can't eliminate that too much.
Joe, process of elimination.
Yeah, so we're just trying to, unfortunately, you move everything down the line, but you try to get it to one spot instead of 4 spots. So, I mean, it's something that will be coming down the pipe at some point in time too, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Just need a motion to adjourn, please.
Second. Motion by Bear, second by Briggs to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You guys sound alike. I need to adjust my hearing aid.
Just assign one of us or the other.
It doesn't matter.
There's no reward for it.
No, there's not.
There was a reward at the end of the year.
Chief, you're walking like me.